to give us some time. Um, I thank you all for coming tonight. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Brianna. I am actually on the marketing team. So this sales webinar is a little bit different from our usual webinars. So we have weekly webinars with students and parents, but this week I'm running it, which is a little different. I'm the engagement manager and I work primarily with our student alumni. And so this week we are having a different kind of panel in which we'll give you some regular overview, but we also have with us, as I said, 2 student alumni and their families here to talk about their experiences and to answer some of your questions. So we have Tiffany from LA with her mom, Etta, and her dad, Gregory. And they're going to answer some of our questions. And Tiffany studied in Seoul last year. And then we have Araceli and her mom, Carrie, coming in from Chicago. Araceli, remind me, you studied in Spain, correct?
In Mexico.
In Mexico, I'm sorry. Okay, so Araceli studied in Mexico last year. And so we have both of them here, her mom, Carrie, to answer some of our questions. I also have here to help me 3 of my coworkers. I have here Sabrina, Isish, and Chandra, who are here to help us and answer questions. They're in the weekly sessions as well, and they'll be able to look in our chat so that we can have a question and answer session at the end of the session. And of course, ladies, feel free to jump in at any moment since you guys are the ones who normally do the sales presentations. If you have anything to add to my presentation.
Thanks, Brianna. Hi, everybody. I'm Sabrina. I'm a study abroad advisor at CIEE, and I'm so excited to be on this webinar with you all. This is such an exciting time, so I'll be in the chat along with Isis and Chandra, answer questions and ask anything that you want to ask. This is such an exciting time, and yes, let's get started.
Great. So as you guys know, we are excited in getting into our deadline. Our deadline is next week. So let's get you guys some information so the students can get their applications in time for our scholarship deadline. So why choose CIEE? CIEE has been around for over 75 years. We're the oldest and longest running study abroad company in the nation. So we definitely have a lot of experience in sending our students around the world. Every year we support over 30,000 students, both high school and college, leaving the US and coming to the US. So we've been doing this for a very long time. We have center staffs and staff that's on site in every city that we send students to, who know that city and who are well equipped in dealing with American students coming to live in that city, whether it be for 3 or 4 weeks, in the case of most of our high school students, or a little bit longer, whether they're high school doing semesters abroad or college. We are a nonprofit organization. So our mission is really to help promote cultural exchange, right? Our goal is to increase international and global education. At this moment, not even 3%, a little less than 3% of American high school students study abroad. And that's a number that we really want to see grow, because we truly believe that by creating more social interconnectedness and having students travel abroad and study abroad, it creates more empathetic citizens and better global active citizens, even when they're back at home. And we also administer the largest scholarship fund for US high school students. So this year, we have about $6 million to give in scholarships. That is more than any other study abroad company. And that $6 million is only for our high school students. That is only for the high school summer abroad program, right? So the students that are applying by next week are competing only for that money against other kids who are doing the same program as them, right? So that money goes all to sending high school students for the summer. Where we go, so you can see the
It's
orange
fucking
dots are where we
pointless. I
have.
can't hear a goddamn thing. Help.
But we can hear
Oh.
you.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we heard you. It's okay. I'm sorry that you can't hear. Are you on a mic or something?
Probably not pressing the top button.
Yes, you cannot hear us. You need to type
Yeah,
on
she
the
can't hear
chat.
anyway. Yeah, she's not gonna answer. Okay, so,
System settings,
the orange
then
dots
click
are. You're going
sound.
to see.
Maybe you can turn her sound off.
Yes, I did. I thought it was somebody else and I turned off two people's sound now. So the orange dots that you'll see are where we have our summer abroad programs. So we have programs in every continent for high school students that they can choose from. Obviously, we have a great concentration of programs in Europe, but also in Asia, in Africa, in South America and Central America and Australia. So we have a great array of choices for our students. If students want to choose a language program, our language programs are 4 weeks long. We have 7 language programs. We have Spanish, French, German, Italian, Arabic, Japanese, and Mandarin. Some of them, you can go to multiple locations to study the language, right? They're not necessarily just in one city. These language programs are language intensive. So that means that since we want the students to be staying in the target language, they will also be staying in a local homestay. So they will have a host family in that city, and the expectation is that they're speaking the language at home with their family. Studies have shown after we give our preliminary test and our post test with our students on program, we have noticed that 1 month with CIEE equals 1 year of taking a language in school. And as a former high school language teacher, I can definitely attest to this growth that I have seen from students on program. That month of intense immersion is going to be such an amazing experience and such a benefit when compared to, an hour a day within a language class, right? So for sure, that month of intense immersion is going to equal that much language growth. Our language programs offer 4 college credits through Tulane University. So once the student successfully completes our program, they can have that college credit that they can put on their college applications, and then depending on the college that they go to, apply those credits either for college credits or to skip language levels once they get to college and want to continue. And they can get the global seal of biliteracy from our programs. So if they get to the level in which they can demonstrate true biliteracy and true fluency in that second language, we offer the global seal of biliteracy on their high school diplomas. So host families, I know parents, a lot of you might have questions about host families. As I said, all of our language programs, with a couple of exceptions, have host families. They come in all shapes and forms, right? So one student could have a host family with 3 little siblings at home. And somebody could have a host family that is a single mother who her children are off in college and, has decided to take in exchange students. They're all vetted completely. They all undergo a vetting process and are visited by the local staff on site in the city. So they undergo a careful process to be chosen. There is the local equivalent of a background check on all family members who are over 18 who will live with the host. So these are people that are definitely motivated by cultural exchange. They'd only get a small stipend, so really they're people that want to have this experience of meeting somebody from another culture and to share their own culture with our American students. And placements can be either single or multiple CIEE students per host. So that means that many times your student will have a roommate that is another American student that lives in that host family's household with them as well for the duration of the program. We also offer topic programs. Our topic programs are 3 weeks long, in comparison with our language programs that are 4 weeks. And we offer programs in so many areas, so many interesting different types of topics that can be studied. We have STEM programs, like engineering and marine biology and studying effects of climate change. We have arts and culture programs. We have a theater program. We have multiple fashion programs. We're starting a sports management program in Barcelona for the first time this year, business programs, and social change programs. So that could be either a leadership and service program or political science programs. Some of the programs that we have, the leadership and service programs, will offer up to 50 hours of service learning. So that's the ones that the students are volunteering. And so this is a really great opportunity for students that, think that they have a career path that they might want to study in college, but aren't sure. And this is a really great chance for them to test out that interest because they get to work and focus on that topic for 3 weeks, right? Their classes will cover that topic and their workshops and their daily activities will all be related to that topic, and they'll be interacting with people from the industry and with experts in the area. And our topic programs usually come with shared accommodations. So typically it could be, it will be a floor or two in either a dormitory, a hotel, a hostel. Depending on the location, there can be up to 4 students per room with a shared bathroom, and the program leaders who are American based, usually high school teachers, who go along to accompany the students on these programs. Program leaders live in those shared accommodations with the students. For example, I was actually a program leader in Lisbon 2 years ago. And so I was right there and on the same floor with the kids, and there at any moment to do, curfew checks, make sure they're in bed, make sure that all of their needs are met. And I'm right there and the program leader is right there if anything is needed, if any medical emergency comes up, any sort of issue, 24/7 on call. So Monday through Friday, this is for all programs. Their students will have 2 to 3 hours of interactive workshops or classes. They will have some sort of cultural activity and then some free time to explore. On the weekends, students will do one weekend where they'll have a day trip and one weekend where they will have an overnight excursion. For the language students, they'll have 3 weekends. That third weekend will be spent with their host family. So a day in the life would look like students going to language class, they're on the language program. Our topic programs do offer language classes as well, but they are survival language classes. They're definitely not as involved in the language that they learn is, how to go to a cafe and order some food, how to ask for directions, survival skills like that. They'll do some sort of practice in the community, cultural activity, and then a homestay connection. So for example, if a student is doing a language program and living with a homestay, they'll have an assignment at dinner time that they have to talk to their host family about their day, or the teacher will give some sort of question that they have to speak with the host about in the target language. Okay, so really constantly working on those language skills. So now I want to welcome our parents who have come, because I think that they're going to offer so much value to this conversation. And I think that's why you are here as parents. I think nobody to speak to you better than parents who have done this and parents who were in your position this time last year. So we have Carrie, Etta, and Gregory. And I would ask you guys, and you can just jump in because I can't, there's so many people in here, which is amazing. I can't really see you guys or where you are. So why did you choose to send your child abroad with CIEE would be my first question. How did that conversation go? Was it something that you were like excited about from the start? Why did you choose CIEE? How did it all go? So whoever wants to jump on and go first.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Etta Carter, and this is my husband, Gregory Carter. Tiffany was introduced to CIEE at a school presentation, and she enjoyed the presentation, and she texted me from school like, "Mom, this program, I want to go." And so she came home with the information, and we sat through, a few of the webinars. And me, Tiffany is my only child. I was very concerned about the safety, about the program. And so as Mama Bear does, I started researching everything. I talked to people at CIEE. I talked to counselors. I talked to my pastor. I talked, to anyone I could to kind of get feedback. And so at first I was like, I don't know, that's a long way. And, you're by yourself. I don't know. But after I spoke to several people and other parents, my husband was like, let her go. It'll be good. But I was like, I don't know, let me check. But after I spoke and got all the information, I felt comfortable letting Tiffany go to Korea.
What was it that made you feel comfortable sending her? What gave you that final push where you're like, okay, I trust these people to take my daughter to Korea?
It was conversations like this, and reading reviews, and her counselors at schools and other people who had children who went through it as well. They gave me the comfort and the peace that I needed to understand that this was a good program. I like the fact that you guys had been in business for over 75 years. And then, like I said, once I started communicating with everyone and emails, and I just felt like this was, if I was going to choose anything or choose any company, this was the best one for our needs.
Great, thank you. Carrie, do you want to talk to your kid?
Yeah. So Araceli is the same kind of thing. It was advertised at school. She brought it home, and actually before she ever had heard of it or anything, I've always been a big pro study abroad person because I studied abroad in high school and in college, and we've hosted a student. So for my kids, it's kind of like, whenever you're ready, just tell me and I'll sign the application. So, but I had no experience with CIEE before. So I did do some research, and, I liked what I saw as far as how everything was run and who was available at each point, you know, be it program leaders, host families, all that kind of stuff. So for me, I felt very comfortable with what I saw and how it was presented and managed.
Great, thank you. And Araceli and Tiffany, what was it that drew you the most about going abroad? I see that there's some families in here too. I see that, you know, some parents are attending with their children. So what drew you? Why did you guys want to have this experience?
I wanted to have this experience because I knew that I really wanted to travel and do a study abroad. And I figured, why not do it right now? Like, my life is going well right now. My academics are fine. I have some time over the summer. I don't need to go to like a summer school or anything like that. So why not go out and be a little adventurous and a little crazy and go off to a foreign country? I mean, it was a pretty easy decision, and like what really drove me was definitely language. I didn't go on a language program, I went on a thematic program, but I still chose Korea because it had a program that I like, and also because I started learning Korean that school year. And so I really wanted to go and see what everything my Korean teacher said, was everything true, would my Korean actually hold up against what people are actually using nowadays in Korea. And I think going there to practice and kind of hear the language every single day was one of the reasons I really chose to go on a study abroad.
Great.
For me, what really drew me is like she said, the stories of like her going in high school and college and like having our own exchange student come here always made me like want to, like I did see myself in the future doing it. And when I heard about CIE, like I thought like might as well like apply. You know, why are you laughing? Might as well apply. And like being given the opportunity to like improve my language skills was something I really wanted to do. So yeah, I just applied and I did it.
Perfect, great. So my next question would be, after your student got back from abroad, right? What growth did you witness in your child once they returned? Was your child the same as they were a month before you sent them abroad, or did you notice that they had, you know, grown and changed in any way? I don't want to throw out ideas because I don't want to lead, right? So what kind of growth did you notice once your child returned? Yeah, Etta.
When my child came back, you talking about a change for the better. My child came back more confident, more independent. Whereas, you know, oh, that's my baby. Let me do this. She came back. She's like, Mom, I'll do that. You know, she had a confidence about herself. And I told her dad, I said, wow, you know, she has navigated throughout, you know, South Korea and learned the bus system and the subway system and live, you know. And I said, you know what, I'm going to have to give her a little more leeway now, because she was just, it was amazing, you know, in just that short amount of time, how she adjusted and showed us, you know, that she was a young adult, a young lady, and just, you know, doing the laundry, balancing, you know, her pocket money, meeting new friends and going outside her comfort zone. All of that was one of the many benefits of this program.
Great. Carrie.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. Definitely like the maturity and just how she carried herself, like navigating the city, having to speak up for herself. And, you know, we gave her a certain amount of spending money. So managing the budget, making sure she had enough to get through, whether or not it was like souvenir shopping or just going out to eat with the friends that she made while she was there. So just like immense maturity and growth in that way.
Yeah. It's definitely like a first step for college, right? It gives them a taste of that independence that they're going to get at college, but it's a shorter period of time for a younger person, right? So to give them that first taste, and the balancing money, that is I visited some students that were on program in Toulouse last year in France. And I visited them on like week 1.5 out of 4. And especially the girlies were, figuring out how to balance the rest of their money after they spent too much clothes shopping in Europe and France. The first couple of weeks, right? They're like, I spent all my money at Zara. What am I gonna do the rest of the month? So definitely learning that skill as well. And Araceli and Tiffany, how do you feel you grew? Or your language skills, or in terms of independence, what would you say would be the greatest benefit of how you became a different person with your time abroad?
I think one of the biggest changes for me was definitely being more confident in myself. Like, I don't think I was a very shy, kind of introverted person at all when I left, but coming back, I really noticed how much I had changed when I came home and I started doing more things that I did in Korea, like talking to other people and trying out my language skills with like different things. And I think becoming more confident in myself and everything that I knew I can do, now that I've been forced to do it in a way that I wasn't originally planning to do, and like in a way that I wouldn't have normally done had I been at home, had I done all my normal activities or anything like that, definitely pushed me to become a more confident, more self-assured person. That's really benefiting me right now.
Learning how to do bonds.
Oh, sorry. For me, stepping out of my comfort zone was like the main thing for me, because before I left, like I don't really like that was not really a thing that's kind of like in character for me. So like the first week I was there, I was kind of more like secluded into myself, but like I realized I don't have much time there, so like I have to make the most of it. So then I stepped out of my comfort zone, started talking to people, and like I noticed that once I came back, like this like even like being an ambassador here, this is like out of my comfort zone and something I wouldn't have done beforehand. So that really helped my confidence. And then definitely my language skills, just being in the country where everyone was speaking Spanish helped me improve my Spanish. Just going around shopping, talking to people, talking to locals helped me improve my Spanish a lot.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are now talking to, I don't know if you can see the number, I don't want to scare you, but 300 parents in this Zoom, right? So that definitely shows how your confidence has grown, right? And even in the time of being global ambassadors. And so this next question is actually for our students too, because all the time, number one question we see is what to pack. What should I pack? What, people that don't want to overpack or underpack. So what would you recommend that you pack? What was one thing that you're so glad that you brought with you that you couldn't live without? And parents, was there anything that you really recommended that your student pack? Or parents, on the other hand, I could also ask you, instead of terms of packing, what's one piece of advice you gave to your child before they left?
I can't really think of them saying something to necessarily like remember to bring, but remember to like leave room for souvenirs, because I came back with like a whole sombrero and I had to like stuff that in my bag, and like I had a bunch of other gifts I had to give to people, so I needed to like save room for that. And I did, like I threw away all my toiletries once I left, so like I was able to have room for all those gifts and things.
Now, I know for, as far as parent advice, my advice to Tiffany was, of course, be safe. Don't go anywhere by yourself. And I told her just, buy as many like small items, keychains, pens and pencils, because they pack easily. And then I recommended the poncho. Having a poncho is so very important. And then just keeping your passport safe, your debit card, your cell phone, and other electronic equipment. Just always making sure you are aware of those items.
Great.
I think one of the best things I packed was definitely a safe place to put my money. I had my wallet, but I still had money like in different places. And so making sure that I knew where all of my money was definitely something I was very happy that I did. Because going abroad means a lot of snacking, trying everything that's available to you. And I'm glad that I remembered like to bring enough money and also to put it in safe places so that way I could access it in case I needed it. And also bring comfortable shoes. Bring comfortable shoes.
You can't do it without it.
You're gonna do lots of walking.
Another thing I thought of is a battery pack. That helped me a lot because when we had like long days, when we were out until like sometimes we were out until like 5 p.m. and like I just needed to charge my phone and like didn't have a wall to plug it into, a battery pack was like really helpful. And also like a crossbody bag or a bag to just keep close to you, just so you have all of your items just like close to your body.
Great. Carrie, was there any advice that you gave to Araceli before she left?
So when I was an exchange student, one of the biggest things that we were told was don't say no to anything, which obviously within reason, but like if somebody offers you an experience, you know, don't say no because you're nervous or shy, or somebody offers you a food, just try it. Like try everything, because especially on these summer programs, you're only there for a few weeks. Like the chance probably won't come up again. So just go all the places, see all the things, try all the things, and enjoy everything that you can while you're there.
Yeah, that's great advice. And so then my last question, and then I think we'll open it up to the audience if you have any questions for the parents. But my last question is, what is one thing you wish you knew before sending your child abroad? Or in other words, what advice do you have for parents that are about to send their child, maybe for the first time, maybe their only child, definitely their baby, to the other side of the world?
Go for it.
Hi, this is Mr. Carter's, Tiffany's dad. And one thing that we came to recognize that it was trust. We had to trust her, that we raised her in a way that she would go and represent us in CIEE as well.
And I know that I wish I didn't worry as much. I didn't have to worry because the program was great about sending you weekly newsletters, posting pictures, and they told us as parents, you know, you don't have to call your child every day. You know, give them a chance to immerse themselves in the culture and the people. Give them their wings, let them fly. And you know, I wish I would not have worried as much, because there was not a day that went by that I didn't know what their schedule was, you know, and what they had to eat. It was wonderful. And let me see what else. What is one thing you wish you knew before sending? Yeah, you don't worry as much. Let your child have fun, because when they come back, it's such a great story, and just to see the light in their eyes, and then they meet friends that you know they're in communication with from all over the world, and it's just really awesome.
I would definitely agree with all of that. You know, when it's really it's easy advice to give in hindsight, like to let go and try not to like call too often. And it's really hard in the moment. And I didn't think it was going to be hard because, like I said, I've done study abroad. And I think that as a parent, it definitely is harder than you realize it's going to be. But definitely like try to limit the phone calls and stuff, because they're only there for a short time. They will call you if they need you, but they have support there. They have their host families, they have their program leaders. You know, I told her if she needed me, she could call me, but we really didn't need to be on the phone all the time. I think we only had 1 or 2 phone calls. And one of them I think was because it was my birthday. So other than that, you know, if she texted me, I responded, but I tried really hard not to text her first. I still checked her location and stalked her on Find My Friends all day long. So I knew where she was all the time, but I definitely like tried to let her do her thing, and just report back when she could or had a chance. We did little things like we're iPhone users, so she set up a shared album and would put pictures in there so that I could see them, even if she didn't have time to make like an Instagram post or something. I still kind of got to see what she was doing. But yeah, it's just let them go do their thing, and you'll hear from them when you hear from them.
Great. Thank you so much. So any questions from parents and friends, Chandra, Sabrina, Isis, if you see anything as well, please just call out the questions because I see the chat is hot.
Yes, thank you everybody for your questions. We are working through your questions now, so please bear with us.
Could we ask a question now, or do you just
Yes,
want to?
yes, go ahead.
Okay, so one of the questions that I asked was pretty lengthy, so I think that's the reason why I didn't get a response. So I've already had a conversation with the agency you work with, something Fox or something, whatever the agency is. I'd like to understand what the experience is for the students once they arrive in New York City. Okay, so for my son, he's supposed to go to New York City directly to Berlin. So once my son arrives in New York City Airport, JFK, what happens?
So you're talking about the chaperone flight, right?
That is correct. I'm sorry, I should have been more clear. Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
So on your chaperone flight, so wherever Tiffany and Araceli, wherever you met up with your flight chaperone, can you talk about that experience?
So I'm from California, I'm from LA. And to fly to Korea, it's easier to do a connecting flight, at least in my case for the chaperone flights. So what I did was I flew from my home airport, LAX, to Washington. And then from Seattle, I flew to Korea. And that was when I had my chaperone flight. When I went abroad, I was still eligible for unaccompanied minor services. And so that's what I use. That's what I use kind of to help me navigate the airport. But when you arrive in the city for your connecting flight to meet with your chaperones, normally your chaperone will get in touch with you like a week or so before that, just so you guys can kind of talk, and you'll be in a group chat, at least for me, with the other people who are going to be on your flight as well, so you guys can get to know each other in case you're sitting next to each other. But what happened for me was I was led to the area where we were, like where everyone was meeting up. And then I met with the chaperone. And then because I had already talked to her and communicated with her for a while leading up to that, everything was pretty fun and everyone was comfortable with each other. But then after that, it'll be kind of a normal flight process. I know for me, because I was doing the unaccompanied minor service, the flight attendants and the chaperone had to kind of like work together to check me into my flight and like hold on to my passport and all of that. But your kid will meet up with the chaperone, and then from there it'll be like a normal flight, except the chaperone is kind of gonna make sure that all the students that are supposed to be there are there for the right program, and you get to meet some of your program mates like ahead of time.
And as from a parent's point of view, the flight chaperone, she reached out to me as well beforehand. So there were introductions. So I felt comfortable because I had a contact, email, everything. And so she flew unaccompanied minor from LA to Seattle. And the flight attendant made sure she made contact with our chaperone. And then she was with the rest of the group going forward. So it was very easy, from a parent point of view.
Okay, thank you so much. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
And everybody's wearing very bright t-shirts. All of the students are wearing bright blue, and the program leaders are wearing this horrible orange that you see in this slide right now, right? A very bright orange t-shirt. It's not horrible, it's beautiful, it's a CIEE color. But I didn't love walking around the airport with a t-shirt that color. But so very bright, and you'll notice that everybody's flying out the same day. So within these hub airports like New York City, Seattle, there's going to be so many kids and so many program leaders going all over the world. So I think that also definitely creates a sense of community and safety as well, right? You'll always be able to find a program leader to go to.
I have a question
Yeah.
about language for Araceli and Tiffany. I don't know if Tiffany speaks Korean, but how does that feel when you're not perfectly fluent in the language?
So I was in a language program and I was not fluent by any means, but just being there I just started to pick up on the things other people were saying around me. And like if I needed to Google a word, I did. And like I kind of just by the end of the program, I was way more fluent than I was in the beginning because you just start to pick up on things around you. And like I was in a language lesson too, so I was also learning some things in the class. And like by piecing everything together, I was able to improve my Spanish.
In thematic programs, you don't necessarily need to know any of the language because they will have like a teacher, in my case, it was a Korean teacher, to teach you like how to get around. So like when you're going to order something, or if people ask you like where you from, or if you want to know where someone's from, they'll teach you like some basic essential phrases. But for me, I think I had an easier time than some of my other classmates because I had studied Korean for a year prior to that. So I was kind of a little more comfortable with the language. But it's definitely a culture shock to be walking around and you'll hear like no English because it's not an English speaking country. So you just have to kind of work through the fact and just I would say it's a good idea to learn at least like the basics of a language before you go, just so that way you're not caught off guard. You can at least say hello and goodbye and thank you and all of that.
Great. Marilyn?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
So my daughter has allergy to egg and kind of has to avoid dairy. And so we've sent her to like, summer camp because we know it's always going to help for her future to get out there and start doing life independently. So she actually wanted to do this, and we're told that in Costa Rica there's a farm they live on. But I'm just wondering, is there someone I can speak to? Because, when it comes to breads, muffins, cookies, lunch food, it can be tricky. And I'm not going to pretend that it's that easy to accommodate that.
Right. I think that is definitely something to talk to the enrollment coordinator about as they are preparing your student. There's definitely, and girls correct me if I'm wrong, Chandra and Sabrina and Isis, there's like a dietary section on the application, right? So
You are correct. Yeah. So like you said, Brianna, I recommend reaching out to your enrollment coordinator, your study abroad advisor, just to let them know and they can guide you as well.
Right. And she did fill it out and is accepted. And so great. That's who I will reach out to next, the enrollment coordinator.
yes, so whoever's been guiding her along the application process and contacting her throughout this process.
Okay, super. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I believe it was Tiffany who said that she flew from California to Washington, and I'm based out of Washington, and I wanted to know if there was any type of pre-TSA or customs that she got before going on her trip. And what was it like coming back, flying home from South Korea?
So of course my experience is going to differ a lot from like everybody else's point of view because I was so young when I went and I did unaccompanied minor. So they kind of took care of everything for me and kind of guided me through that really quickly. But I can talk a lot about flying back. And when it comes to flying back, it was definitely bittersweet. I could have stayed in Korea for another couple of weeks for sure. I really didn't. I was kind of sad to come home, but I was also excited to come home as well to show my parents everything that I got and all the cool stuff that I've learned and seen and done. But coming back, definitely, I kind of like was a little jittery because I was still ready. I was still in like my study abroad mode. I didn't really want to come back. But when I came home, everything went well. I just definitely recommend that if when you study abroad, give yourself like some time to rest from your study abroad and to like come down off of everything that you've been doing. I had about a week free before school started back when I came back from my study abroad. So I used that week to kind of fix my sleep schedule and to kind of regulate myself and prepare myself for the start of the new school year. So I would definitely say coming back home is a bittersweet experience, but you have to do it eventually, and everything should be fine.
For me, my connecting flight was in Miami, and I have TSA pre-check, so I was able to go through the pre-check line so I flew from Chicago to Miami and Miami to Mexico, and I was able to go through the pre-check line from Chicago to Miami because I don't have international. And then coming back after I flew to Miami, I was able to go in the pre-check line from Miami to Chicago. So I was able to skip that line because I had pre-check beforehand.
And she was also unaccompanied minor, but she was still able to use that service.
Yeah, so this line was really short, so I would recommend that.
And so can you talk about, I think, also what Cabela is asking, can you talk about like going through customs on your way back? Was that kind of what you were leaning towards? Like, how was it to go through customs when you got back into the US?
Yes.
In Miami.
Oh yeah, customs, it was just, they just asked you if you like had anything that you needed to like declare. It wasn't really that complicated.
For me, going through customs when I came back to the US was a breeze, really. We kind of went through and they just asked me, did I have like anything I needed to declare, or like any major food items, like big bottles or like big packages of food. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Kelly?
Yeah, I wanted to circle back to the flight part. So
Okay.
my daughter is hoping to go from Los Angeles to Madrid. So should she expect that there is going to be a stopover in, say, New York City, or are there any direct flights, or what could we expect with that itinerary?
So if you're going to do a chaperone flight, which is recommended that you do a chaperone flight, you will be sent to a hub city. So in Los Angeles, but to go to Madrid, I'm not sure exactly what hub city they would give your child, but you know, our hub cities are cities like Seattle, New York City, Miami. So she would be flown to one of those cities to meet up with the CIEE program leader or flight chaperone and the other students going on that program. Once you're accepted into the program, it's recommended that you work with Flight Fox, which is the company that we use to book all of our flights, even our flights when we travel on work, right? Everything that we do flight-wise is through Flight Fox. So, and they know exactly what they have to do in what group flights to get your student on when they're booking those flights.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I just contacted Flight Fox today and they gave me two different scenarios, one for an independent travel and one for a half independent, half chaperoned.
Right, yeah, because
So they give you different, give you different choices.
Right. Okay, thank you. Katya?
Hi, I am wondering how the organization keeps LGBTQ students safe.
Yeah. So our center staff, as I said, are staff that are trained in dealing with all of these sorts of more sensitive issues, right? So they are from that culture and they know more or less how that society works. And so they're going to give those students guidelines, right? From pre-departure, right? Of how to be safe and what to expect culturally, right? So
I guess
it's
my
really-
concern is more about the host family treating
Yeah.
students equitably as opposed to the student knowing what to expect.
Right. So as I said, all of our host families are vetted. and to have background checks. So I think that there will be careful consideration, first of all, as host families are chosen, that, you know, they're gonna choose a host family that is going to be safe for any student, no matter what their background is, right? Whether, you know, they're a student that might face discrimination for any part of their identity, right? And I think that we would avoid hiring any host family that we would feel that that is an issue. They are carefully chosen and students are placed carefully with their host families. So that would be another layer of consideration. And then if any issue does come up, the student would be able to talk to the center staff and changes can be made if there is a very negative situation for the student.
Great answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I have a quick question, just to piggyback off the host family.
Yeah.
Do students have the option to be at a host house with another student, or because I know you were saying about a single, or do they, like, how does that process work when you guys deciding on which host family or what students are going to stay with the host family?
Yeah, I don't think students can choose whether it's single or double, correct? ECs, right? The students can't choose, it's just how it goes. But I think most of the time they are doubles. Araceli, were you in a host family?
I was in a host family
And
and I
did
had,
were you in a double?
yeah,
Okay, and did you choose a double or was that just what was assigned to you?
it was just assigned to me because I didn't know anyone going in the program.
Okay, yeah.
She did know in advance though, because we spoke to her host mom. We did a FaceTime and she let her know during that call that there was another student from Chicago coming.
Okay, cool. And were most of the kids on program in doubles or were there kids that were alone with host families?
I'm pretty sure everyone was in doubles.
Okay, yeah, I think that is among the most common.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Christina?
Sorry, hi. Yeah, we're really interested in, staying with the host family. Did you say that every single country offers that? My daughter wants to go to Taiwan. Will that definitely be an option?
No, not necessarily. So it is, so Taiwan does have a Chinese language program. So language programs, it is almost always offered. There have been exceptions in the past. Last year in Rome, for example, the students weren't in homestays and they had to go into hotels. But for the most part, if it is a language program, then it would be with a homestay.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
For the program specifically in Taiwan, that will be a hotel this year.
Oh, it will. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Did you hear that, Christina?
Yeah, but so it will have an option for a host family though? We prefer a host family.
It
No,
does
I don't
not have
think
that
so.
option.
Oh, okay, okay. What about China?
China's a homestay.
Okay,
China's a
thank you.
homestay. Okay, thank you.
I have a question. When do we get to meet the host family?
When did you guys meet your host families? Or Araceli, when did you meet your host family?
About 2 weeks before, I think she sent me an email. I got an email with like her information, and then one of us reached out to each other, and then we set up a call like a week before the program, and we just talked about like foods like I can't eat or like things that I like and don't like, and then we just got to know each other really before I got to meet her in person. And
I
then
think she like told you who else was in the house, like her
yeah,
kids.
she told me about like her kids and like she doesn't have any pets, so she told me like that. And yeah, really just like kind of getting to know what my life would be there before I actually was there.
Okay, can I have contact with them like after when my daughter is over there or no?
So I don't know if I should answer this, but
Yeah.
I had her host mom's contact information, but I only felt the need to contact her like one time, because that goes back to, again, like letting them do their thing while they're there. I didn't feel the need to reach out most of the time. I knew that everything was fine. The one time I did reach out, it was just because I realized that Araceli had forgotten to pack one single item. she, you know, like when we were packing, she selected a dress just in case there was a time they needed to dress up. And so I just asked her to please take her shopping if it came up, you know. Turns out she didn't need it. It was fine. But that was like the only time I ever felt the need to contact her. Like I realized we had forgotten something, but yeah, I have her phone number and like her Instagram. So
Oh, thank you.
Diego?
All right, hi. I'm a senior at high school here in California, Temecula. I saw your program and I wanted to apply, but I just transferred from Mexico
Yeah.
to like California, and my transcripts got all messed up. So like my GPA is like all messed up. So I ran it through a GPA calculator for high school, and it shows I should have like a 3.4 or 3.3 GPA. Kind of low, but and since my transcripts are all messed up, it shows I have a 2.1. So, and I know the minimum is a 2.5 to apply to the like travel, like the program. So I don't know what to do. Like, can I apply, like explain my problem, or what should I do?
ECs, what do you suggest? Emailing us so we can follow up? Maybe?
I sent an email and I got recommended to like come to this meeting right now. So
Oh, okay. Sabrina, Chandra, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, yes, thank you for that question. That's a great question. So if you can just email us again, I will find that information out for you. Just in your email, just please put that you spoke with Sabrina, you were on this meeting, and I will give you an answer.
all right, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, Diego, sounds good. Talk soon.
Thank you, Sabrina. Patricia?
Yes, good night. I was just wondering, we're coming from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So do we have the Gateway City Airport in New Jersey, or we'll have to just travel into New York?
JFK is the gateway city, and that is Newark, correct? No, that's
No,
not
JFK
Newark,
is
that's
in
New
New
York.
York, but
Yeah.
Newark is New Jersey. So
Newark is New Jersey. Yeah, you might have to go into New York.
New York, okay. And for my daughter, because she's going to be turning 17 shortly. So I'm guessing she can also I can do a chaperone flight for her. Because
Yes,
this is her first time traveling by herself.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
chaperone flight is offered to all of our students and recommended for all of our students. I saw that there was a question. There is the option to do an independent flight, but we recommend that our students do chaperone flights.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Patricia?
you. I have a question regarding the passport and the application. When my daughter submitted it, it did state that the passport needed to be valid for at least 6 months. Now, her passport is currently expired and we're in the process of renewing it. How would that affect her being able to travel in this?
Hi, it's Sabrina. I can answer this. So on the application, please select no, that you do not have that passport valid right now. And then another question will prompt where it'll prompt you to put in your appointment date with the passport agency, just so we can have that on record. And then we're asking students to at least have that passport 1 week before travel. So we all know that after COVID-19, the passport agency has been backed up. So please, schedule those appointments sooner than later, because that can jeopardize your trip, and that's the last thing that we want.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Lee?
Yeah, hi. My question is about refunds because we're about to pay the tuition fees. So I just wanted to know what the policy is for if they get sick, they get COVID before they need to go, and they can't join the program anymore.
Sabrina, do you know the refund policy?
Yes, so I am going to just take a look at what we have on the website.
Nothing says anything about sickness in terms of refund.
Yeah, so were you able to view that on our FAQ page?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So, sometimes we, we work case by case. So with
Okay.
this specific question, I would recommend emailing us at hsabroad@ciee.org. And, we work case by case. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, if a student is sick, I'm pretty sure that we can work with managers, but I can't give any guarantees. But just for more information, please email us.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a couple more questions, and then any questions can be emailed to us. So, Kelly, you have a question?
Yeah, if they're doing a language program, I think you said that they should expect to have at least one overnight excursion. Will there be separate fees for that, and or will they know where they're going in advance, or will it be something like, okay, next week we're going to city A and they'll just find out then, or?
When did you find out about your overnight excursions, Tiffany and Araceli? I know, Tiffany, yours got canceled, right, because of the monsoon coming in? But when did you find out about them, where you were going?
I don't really remember
There
exactly.
was a detailed itinerary in our paperwork
Yeah.
that said like everything. Like I knew all the things they were doing, like the little afternoon field trips, the weekends that weren't overnight excursions, because they still had like daytime excursions on the Saturdays. Like I knew everything before they left.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and there's no.
I have some insight as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so you will be finding out where your student is going, and yes, all excursions and activities are covered in the tuition. On our website, you can actually take a look at all our different programs where we have a page where you can check out, the sample activities that students will be doing, as well as blogs from students who have traveled in the past. So that can be great information based on those excursions. And then also just using your enrollment coordinator, study abroad advisor as a resource and just asking these questions. We manage our text messages, we manage our phone calls, and then you can also email us. So you have 3 different methods of reaching out to us, and I'll go ahead and put all that information in the chat.
Great. Okay, and then I think I'm going to take this last question from Kevin, and then as we said, the hsabroad@ciee.org is our email address. If you have any other questions, there are a couple more slides I want to show you after the question with a couple more resources. Kevin?
Yeah, hi. So I was wondering, what are the downsides of traveling alone without a chaperone?
Downsides of traveling alone without a chaperone.
Yeah, because I can't. Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
I would say I can't work with, like, I can't go with a chaperone. That's the thing.
You can't go with a chaperone?
Yeah, that can't work out.
Okay, then, I mean, that's a decision that you and your parents would make. As long as your parents are good with sending you unchaperoned, then I think that that's a decision, that a family will make on their own. That's totally fine.
Wait, you mean chaperone like parent or what?
A CIEE chaperone.
Oh, okay.
Yes. No, I'm not talking. So no, students are flying without their parents for the most part. Students are flying. So for example, Araceli flew from Chicago to Miami alone. Tiffany flew from LA to Seattle alone. And then in those hub airports, there was a CIEE program leader that met up with them, and that is the chaperone flight. They were there to guide, groups of 10 students and fly with them and take them on the international leg of the trip.
Okay.
Does that make
Thank
sense?
you.
That's what we
Yeah.
mean by chaperone flight. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. I also want to, I saw some questions in here asking for students from specific locations, from Singapore, from China, that studied abroad looking for alumni. In the fall, we did a alumni virtual fair. Araceli and Tiffany presented at that as well, and many other students. And you can go through this playlist. There is a program, there's a episode about the global entrepreneurship program in Singapore, in which Sana, one of our students, talks about her experience there. We don't have any students that talked about their experience in China because we haven't run the China high school program in a couple of years due to COVID-19, but there are students that talk about their experience learning Mandarin in Taiwan. So another resource for you is our podcast. We do a podcast that is released every 2 weeks called Out of Your Comfort Zone. So you can you can search that right out on YouTube, Out of Your Comfort Zone, CIEE. And we do have an episode with 2 parents as well, talking about their parent perspective if you want to hear more from other parents and, you know, going more in depth about the experience. So I would say our conversation today was definitely more in depth and amazing. So again, thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Carter and to Chris, to Carrie and Araceli and Tiffany. Thank you guys so much for being here. So remember, we have amazing scholarship opportunities, $6 million awarded every year, up to 100% of program tuition. For scholarship, students must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and they must be a freshman, sophomore, or junior. Unfortunately, we don't have financial need scholarships for seniors. Merit scholarships for $500 off of tuition. Anybody can apply, seniors and international students alike. So I'm sure, hopefully now you are aware of what is included in the application since it's due in a week. But you know what to expect. 3 short answer questions, your transcripts, a teacher recommendation, terms and condition, and supporting financial documents. And again, the scholarship deadline is next Wednesday, January 24th. Scholarship award announcements will come out in February around President's Day weekend. So I saw some questions about that as well. Look for scholarship award announcements around mid-February. That's when you'll find out which program you were accepted to and how much money the student received. And any follow-up questions? We have our email here, hsabroad@ciee.org, and our phone number that you can contact and talk to any of our amazing ECs. And thank you again to Sabrina and Chandra and ECs for being here and saving me with all of the more technical questions that I don't know the answer to. And again, thank you to our families. Have a great night. Thank you so much for joining. Good luck, everybody. And I hope you all get to go to or your children get to go to the destination of their dreams this summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we done? We'll go eat.
Better go eat.
Are you guys having one session next week too?
Yes.
Say
Next
24th?
Wednesday, same time. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.